Hi everyone, thanks for venturing back. Today I have a couple of project shares for you, but before we get into that, I just wanted to tell all my subscribers and my new subbies, thank you so much everyone for subscribing and commenting and hitting that like button on those videos. I really appreciate it. And to all you newbies out there, thanks for visiting, and hopefully you decide that you want to stay and that I can give you a little bit of entertainment or something, a laugh, anything, however it is that it's going to work. So thanks everyone, and let's just jump right into it. Okay, so what I did, I bought this die, and this came from Your Next Stamp. I put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. This came from Your Next Stamp, yournextstamp.com, and this is the Beautiful Little Bow Dies. Yeah, spit it out, Goldie. She can't talk, people. It's Beautiful Little Bows die set, and that's YNSD 378. And it just makes the cutest little dies. I know there's a lot of them out there, and there are some that I could do. I could do it with my Cricut or whatever, but frankly, I'm thinking a die is a whole lot simpler. So I made some little bows, and super cute. I absolutely love these. They're not very big, which is perfect. This one is about a half an inch, inch and a half long, and probably about half an inch wide. And that's the big one. The small one is just barely over an inch, like maybe an inch and an eighth, if that, and about, can't even get a hold of it, about 3/8 of an inch wide. So super stinking cute. And that die actually came with the extra, like the little tails. And I found this paper. It's like really spiffy. Come on now. With the focus. There you go. Really spiffy gold paper. I found this at Hobby Lobby. And it's really nice. It's actually, it's surprisingly substantial, even as thin as the paper is, and it holds up really nice. So there you can see with the little tails. I might do some with tails later. I haven't decided yet, but I like them the way they are. So I did some with, they're like little baby frogs, people. Yeah. Yes, she's lost her mind, folks. Yeah, so I did some with some little flat back pearls and some with some bling. So super fun, and like I said, I might do those again at some point. I was just trying out my die, and so there you go. Your Next Die from yournextstamp.com. So super fun. So I did those, and one of the other things that I did, I was just kind of playing around, and I wanted to, yes, shadows, lots of shadows, sorry folks, but I wanted to do some paper clips, and I was just kind of fussing around with these. I didn't think anything, you know, major, anything like that. And these flowers are the Offray flowers, and you can get them at Joann's, and you can get them at Michael's, or excuse me, not Michael's. I don't know, maybe Michael's. It's been a while since I've been in there. Walmart. You can buy these at Walmart as well as at Joann's. So I did these, and then I thought, you know what, I need something else on the back side. So I put those on, and I used E6000 and kind of held it with a clothespin on there. And I thought I needed something on the back, so I did that. And it's this little pack of buttons that I use. And I actually found these at Michael's ages ago. And they're just like the ones that are like the Recollections, the little Recollections flowers. But I don't know, I've had this forever, so I don't know, I'm not really sure. But there's that. And like I said, put those on there, and I was just playing. I didn't, you know, wasn't thinking anything spectacular, but I got a crazy idea, and I thought, you know what, I want gold paper clips. And I hunted and searched and hunted and searched, and I couldn't find any gold paper clips. And I was starting to get a little bit frustrated, and then I remembered that I had my Deco Color pen, and I love this pen. And it's actually, it has like alcohol ink, and it says it's an oil-based opaque metallic marker, paint marker, but you can actually smell, you can smell the alcohol in it. So what I did was I took one of these standard paper clips, took the lovely little paper clip. That one's actually got a great big Recollections flower on it. But I took the paper clip, laid it down on my my craft mat, and just took my pen and colored it. And if you do that, you have to let it sit for a little bit, and you don't want to touch it with your hand because it'll get the paint all over your hand. So put that on there, let it sit a little bit. It will dry, and after it's all dry, then there you go. So, but like I said, I stuck that on there with E6000, and like I said, I just took a paper or a clothespin and just put it on there so that it would hold it, and I didn't have to fuss with it, but I knew that it sat and was solid right where I wanted it. So that's what I did. So if you don't have gold paper clips, there's always an option. So there's that. But I also did some of these, and like I said, I was just plain. It wasn't anything fancy, but I used the Jolie's Boutique little stickers, embellishments, excuse me, adornments. So I used some of those and did this. So like I said, I was just plain. It wasn't anything fabulous or fantastic. I just wanted to fuss around and see what I could put together and whatnot. So even these little bitty ones actually work. So there's one of those little teeny tiny ones from like here. So I was just kind of fussing around. Like I said, nothing absolutely fabulous, but there's a double one. And these actually ride really, really nice in the planner. So I've been using these, and I love the color on them. And they're small, and they don't get hung up on anything. So they were just something fun that I was playing with. That one's got 2 different colors on it, but just something fun that I was playing with. And like I said, I just wanted to see, I wanted to see if that would work. So yeah, the Deco Color pen, and turn a normal paper clip into a gold one. And it's surprisingly simple, and it really does work. So yeah, gotta love that. So that was one of the things that I was playing with. So nothing absolutely crazy fantastic as far as that goes. But one of the other interesting things that I was doing, I have wanted to try avocado dye for a long time. And for whatever reason, you know, I don't like avocados. Nobody in my family likes avocados. I mean, I should say in my immediate family in our house, nobody likes avocados. So I thought, you know what, I am going to give Michelle Pipelines, she's my sweet sister, I'm going to give her method a try. So she uses the RIT dye, and this is the liquid, and she uses Petal Pink and Camel. Now you can find these just about anywhere. Hobby Lobby tends to be the most expensive place, but you know, you can always use a coupon. I bought these, I think I paid $2.99 a piece for them at Walmart. They're kind of hard to find actually, but you can order them online, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, you can, like I said, you can find them almost anywhere. But, so, in her tutorial, what she says is, she says a quart of water. Warmer is always better. So what I did was I did as hot water out of the tap as I could stand to put my hands in. So I used a great big bowl, but I used only 1 quart of water, and you use a ½ teaspoon of the Petal Pink and a quarter of a teaspoon of the Camel. Stir that together, and then what you want to do is your trims, laces, trims, fabric, whatever it is that you're going to dye, you want to dampen it first, and you don't want it soggy and wet because then you're just introducing more water into your batch. So dampen them, and then dip it in, and you can put it in there and leave it. But I babysat mine because I wasn't sure what I was doing. I wanted to watch it real well for a little bit. But yeah, so one of the first things that I dipped in there was some of this lace, and somewhere I've managed to lose my piece. Where did it go? Oh my gosh. Yeah, seriously, lost it. Where'd it go? Goldie, what is going on, woman? I had it right here. There it is. Ha! Buried under everything else. So this was just, it's just a white trim, and this is how it turned out. Now, like I said, if I can get my head out of the light and you guys can see this, this is the 4th time I've tried to do this video today, guys. I have 4 big dogs next door that like to bark, and instead of their mommy telling them to come in so that they don't bark, she just screams at them and they continue to bark more. So that and neighbor kids from farther down the road, and for whatever reason there weren't any kids in school today, and yeah, screamers, people. I've got neighbor kids that are screamers. I couldn't handle it. It was crazy. So yeah, but so there's that, and that turned out a lovely, lovely shade, and literally just dampened that, dipped it right in, pulled it right out, and it took the dye really fast. And honestly, I think it probably would have been a lot faster, but or a lot deeper of a color if I left it in there, but I just wanted to see, so I was just playing. So I did that one. One of the other things I did was this, and this is just tutu trim, and I found this on the roll at Hobby Lobby, and it was like $2.99 for a roll, and there's 2 yards on the roll, but I took a bit off of it, and I don't know if you guys can see that. Like I said, if I get my head out of the light so you can see. There you go. And it's real subtle, but I mean, and it's hard to see, I can tell. It's hard to see on the camera, but in person, it's really, really nice. And it's just this fleshy, pretty, peachy pink that we all like for our vintagey things and stuff. So, but this is the roll of the actual pink that comes on a roll from Hobby Lobby. And for me and some of the projects I'm working on, that is just too crazy harsh. So if you look at the 2 of those together, that is a lot softer pink compared to just the plain white. And that literally was like a not even a 30-second dip, and I'm sure if I left it in there longer, it would have taken a lot more of the color. So super cute, really simple. I like that. One of the other things I did, I have this trim, and it's just a little, get in the frame, it's just this little narrow itty bitty trim. It's really, really pretty. I like it on some of the projects that I have done, and you know, super simple, but I wanted to see how that would turn out and if it would even take the dye. So I threw it in there just to see, just a piece, and like I said, I don't know if you guys can see that. I certainly can. And it is actually, well, I guess not too bad. It's seriously noticeable, like in person. But the one thing I noticed about an hour ago, after doing this video like 3 different times, there is a line where they stitched this that runs right through the thread, and it's like right through the center of the thread, and it did not take any color at all. It is just as stark white as can be. And I know you guys probably can't see that, but you know, should you find this trim, and I found this at Joann's, very, very inexpensive. Buy it by the yard, and if you want to give that a try, you'll see. But super, super pretty, and it's just really, really soft. So there was that one. One of the other things I did was this really super, super cute rosebud trim, and we all know who absolutely loves this trim. Are you gonna focus? Come on. Let's see. There we go. So it's that snazzy rosebud, and they actually call this is Rosebud Gimp. Because I asked at Joann's, but super nice, and you can see the iridescent that is in that. So I thought, you know what, I wonder how it will look. So I stuck a piece in there, and you can see how soft of a pink shade that actually turned that. So I'm sure that if I left this sit in there just a little bit longer, it would definitely be a little bit darker. But I'm hoping you guys can actually see that color difference in there. But in person, you can see it. It's completely just the cutest, softest, palest baby pink. So super, super nice on that. And then one of my favorites, oh my gosh, this is my favorite dangle trim. And this came from Shabby is Chic Boutique, and that is Miss Amy Love on Facebook. And if you look at that, that is some seriously, come on, fuddle around with it, woman, get it out there. Seriously sweet trim. Really, really nice. And I put a piece of that in there, and I am so thrilled with it. And don't ask me what happened right there. I've got a little dark patch on it, I'm not sure. But look at that for color. It is the softest, nicest, shabbiest pink that is just absolutely delicious, but super, super nice. And so in amongst doing all of that, I thought, well, you know what, I've just got some fabrics and things sitting out here that I have been fussing around with for a little while. So I have this piece of just plain muslin, and it's just basically your unbleached muslin. So there's that, and some bits and pieces off of something that I was working on. So I did those, and you can see that it takes the color differently throughout the process. And all of these were actually damp when I threw them in there, like I said. So there's the original, and here's what it looked like in there. And I think I let these sit in there for, you know, maybe a minute, maybe. And as long as you keep that the dye water just as warm as you can get it, it works great. And then this is just a piece of it's almost like a ever so slightly off-white, and it's just a piece of plain old cotton. And I put that in there, and if you look really close, you can see the difference in how the dye sits on the fabric. So kind of different, but you know, not a bad thing given the projects that I was planning on working on. So I really like that. One of the other things I did was, this is a piece of, I think it was a curtain or like off of a bed ruffle, a big piece of trim off of something. I mean, just like long, long, long. And that's the original piece. And then this is what it turned out. And I didn't think it was that noticeable until I put the original with it. So you can actually see how different that is. I have got to do something about this light. But yeah, so that's not all bad, but super, super pretty. I love the softness of it. I'm a big fan of pink, but this pink is a big no-no. But then there's this, and this was a piece from I think it was like off of a tablecloth or something. Super, super pretty. It doesn't look like it's got any color in it at all, but when you put it next to that, you can definitely see that there is some color there. So, and it's a different, it's like thick. It's really super, super thick. So super pretty with that. One of the other things I did, this is a piece of a tablecloth. You know, we all know these tablecloths, right? Great, big, huge tablecloth. So piece of tablecloth, and there's a piece of that. Now these tend to, I think this took the color the nicest of anything that I did. Well, no, I've got one more piece that turned out even nicer than that. But so I did half the tablecloth, and I noticed that there were some patches that actually, and I don't know if you guys can see that, there's like what appears to be discoloration right there. It's not really discoloration, it's just where the color is a little bit more intense, just in a couple of little patches. But there were actually stains on this when I did it. Stains that just would not come out with no amount of washing and all the stain treater and everything. Stains wouldn't come out. So that's kind of how it took the color. And it, you know, I don't mind because it's just in places that are no big deal. And if it was a problem when I'm working on a project, I could just cover it up. So not that big of a thing, but you can definitely see the difference and the softness in that color. So tablecloth. The other thing was, this is a piece of a, what do you call it? A table runner. And I bought this at Dollar Tree. ages ago, and it's like was a really long, crazy long piece. So this one is probably, yeah, it was probably like 6 feet long, because this is about half of it. And I'd used pieces off the end of it already. So this is half, and you can see it's just this really shiny, kind of a pearly off-white, right? Okay. So I threw the other half in, and this is what I got. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but in person, it's got a oh holy oh my goodness on it, because it is so soft and so pale, but so pretty. And I didn't think it took the color when I pulled it out, but it seriously did. So I like that, and I'm hoping you guys can actually see that. But it's really soft, just this very pale pink. And I like that. And I'm thinking, last but not least, this was a curtain. And it was one of those like nylon, rayon, something, whatever curtain. And it had this lovely little rose that ran through the center of it. And then this is the bottom of the curtain. Let's get this out of the way because we don't need that. But so there's the bottom of the curtain, and it had this lovely pattern across the bottom of the curtain, right? And then here's like off the other side of it. So it had that, and this part was on the upper side of the curtain, just above this right here. And this is how this turned out, and I absolutely love it. But look at that compared to the bottom of the curtain. Is that not crazy? I love it. Super pretty. Let's get this up here so we can actually see it. But there you go. Get my head out of the light. Isn't that gorgeous? Absolutely gorgeous. So I love how that turned out. And frankly, I wish I could find some more of this, because if I could, I would buy a curtain panel just to have the whole thing. But that turned out fabulous. I used part of this on a project before, so this is what I had left, but absolutely lovely. So super, super pretty. One other thing that I did was, you know, we all have these paper doilies, right? These lovely paper doilies. So I took one of each. This is a 6-inch, and I'm thinking this is a 4. I believe that's what that is. Yep. So I took one of each, and I dredged them through the water and I just let them drip off and let them sit on a piece of just plain old regular printer paper. Now this is so subtle that you guys can't see it. I don't think you can see it in the camera, but I have to tell you, they are just the most subtle shade of soft pink. Maybe you can, I don't know. Just the most subtle shade of soft pink. I'm going to dip them again. I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to leave them in there a little bit longer. But I do have to say I learned something interesting through this whole process. And what I learned is, read the directions on the bottle. The directions on the bottle actually say, now mind you, this is liquid, and it was actually used for dyeing fabric in your washing machine. So what it says is use 1 bottle for 2 pounds of dry fabric. It says for darker bright colors, double the dye quantity. And it actually says, and I quote, add 1 cup of salt to the dye bath for cotton, rayon, ramie, linens, or blends. And it says add 1 cup of vinegar to the dye bath for nylon, silk, or wool. And it says you can do this on your stovetop. Like you can heat the water, do all of that, and put it on your stovetop. But it says it's suggested when dyeing nylon at a higher temperature. And it does say it is not recommended for 100% polyester, acrylic, acetate, or fabrics with special finishes like rubber backings or stuff like that. Anything that says a cold water wash says not to use that on. And anything that is labeled dry clean only. Now, we're all like smart people, but once in a while you have those of us that, you know, don't really pay attention. But what I'm going to do, I am going to try the same thing. I'm going to use as hot of water as I can stand out of the tap And we don't have any like weird additives like water softener or anything like that in our water. The only thing that they tend to do to our water is add chlorine. Yeah, crazy. You can always tell when they've done it because you can actually smell it in the water. But so what I'm going to do is as hot of the water out of the tap as I can stand, and then I am going to do the same thing. Half a teaspoon of this one, a quarter of a teaspoon of the Camel, and then I'm going to start with just 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to mix that in, and you need to stir it until the salt dissolves. And then I'm going to try bits and pieces of these fabrics again. Now the salt, like I said, the salt is for cotton, rayon, ramie, linens, or blends. And most of the stuff that we have or that we use or that we know of has a label on it somewhere. So if you check that out, you can see that. But I'm also going to do a completely separate bath. Again, as hot as I can stand, a quart of water, as hot as I can stand it, a half a teaspoon of the Petal Pink, a quarter of a teaspoon of the Camel, and I am going to add a teaspoon of vinegar to it. And I'm going to try nylon and the silk or wool blends. So I'm going to give that a try and see if it helps those things that, you know, like this, that don't really want to take the color, you know, as fast or as quick or whatever. So I'm going to give that a go. And I know this was, what is this made out of? Nylon? Something like that? Nope, polyester. And even though it says it's 100% polyester, I'm thinking that, you know, with the right mixture and how we do it, because obviously it takes the color. I mean, I'm looking right at it, so it obviously takes the color. But I'm going to give that a try and see. So you guys, if that's a hint and you're thinking you want to give this a try, like I said, anything that's like cotton, I've lost it. Where did it go? Fabric, where'd you go? Wow. Okay. Yeah, I've lost everything today right there in front of my face. Okay. I know that this muslin and this piece of cotton fabric that I had, I know that those are 100% cotton because that's what I bought. And that's specifically what I asked for when I went into the store. So I know that those are 100% cotton. So maybe, you know, to really imbue that color into that, I'm going to try the salt with that. And I know that this was 100% cotton, but, you know, we're going to give that a go and see what happens. And I do have some bits of nylon, and I have one tiny little small piece of silk that I'm going to give a try with the vinegar. So as soon as I get that all done, I will let you guys know. And honestly, I know that paper is made out of, you know, bits of cotton. So we're going to give that a go and see if we can get that paper to absorb it a little better. Because you know what? That is just as smooth as it was when it went into the water. I didn't wring it. I didn't do anything to it. But I do know that things like glimmer mists and those sort of deals, putting glimmer mist on something, it tends to rumple the doilies or any of the other kind of spritzes or anything like that. The doilies get rumpled, and if that's not what you're after, then, you know, spraying them is not necessarily an option, because I don't like them all wrinkled, depending on what I'm doing. So I'm going to see if I can dip those and make them a, you know, a little bit more pink. And if I could get even remotely close to that, that would be super fabulous. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it a try. And when we come out with that, and I see what happens, I will let you guys know. So there's my project shares for the day. That was a good go round on this one. And let's see if I can get clear through this with no barking dogs and no screaming kids. So at this point, I'm thinking we're pretty good. So thanks everyone for watching. You all have a good rest of your day, and I'm going to get this thing uploaded, and we'll see where we can go from there. So thanks for watching. Bye now.